Okay, we are gonna do lab 11. Um, we have another lab for fuzzing, and then so that will be next week. This week is week 12, next week is 13. I'm debating whether I'm gonna have a lab for week 14. If there will be a lab, it will be for deepfake with AI. I'm working on it actually, but if not, like if we are not having enough time, then I will implement that for a later class. However, I like to implement it. So we'll see how it's going to be tested out in the next couple of weeks. I will also try to get your practice exam going on Canvas. It will not be through CompTIA because yeah, it will just eliminate licensing issues and stuff like that. So you will have a Canvas access to the practice exam, and you can use that to prepare or you know get some credit for that part of this class. So in this week, we are going to use a different virtual machine. This particular virtual machine is used for malware analysis and reverse engineering. And you can find the virtual machine through the link. So it talks about the VM here. It talks about the feature of this particular virtual machine. So this is a modified Ubuntu VM. It has the tools that you can, or packages, the tools that you can use to find, extract indicators, your IOCs, particularly in the malware area. You can use it to uh, disassemble or decompile binaries, especially Windows PE. So today you are going to use like install CMD or CMD. That is considered PE files, and PE stands for portable executable files. So that typically is EXE in Windows environment. And so you can read the features of it. You can use it to look at like different type of malware that impact different platforms. So to download, you are going to press Control key and go to step 1. You're going to click ramnux.org link. Scroll down halfway through. You're going to see the download button. You're going to click it. And it's going to take you to the download page, right? Typically, you would see the general tab OVA. You don't want the general OVA. You need to download the VirtualBox OVA. Click the second tab. So in the step 1 download, make sure you select VirtualBox OVA and click the download for VirtualBox OVA. Okay? Make sure we download for VirtualBox. Now, they released OVA for VirtualBox Proxmox, which is also very popular as well. But if you're using VMware, you can probably use the general OVA download. Okay, so we're going to use VirtualBox OVA. Click the download and save to your downloads folder. So click Save As or Save, okay, if it prompts you. I have done so on Monday, so I'm not going to re-download it again. You should see Ramnux Noble AMD 64 orange file. And unlike your regular virtual machine files that you download from Kali, typically it comes down as 2 files, the blue and the orange file, blue for the VirtualBox file and the orange for the disk, the drive file. They work together. This is a way that we can incorporate 2 files into one, which is an OVA for virtual machines. Okay, so once you have the download, that will take a few minutes. What you're gonna do is you are gonna open up your VirtualBox app by searching for it. Here's my VirtualBox app. And what I need to do is I need to import in my OVA file. Okay, the one that I just downloaded from the first few steps. You can click the import, which is the upside down U, right? Or you can go to File and select Import Appliance. It's the same thing, right? So in step 5 of your instruction, it tells you to click File, Import Appliance, or you can click Import button next to Preference, right? In the past, we'd use like add to add the VBox file. We don't this time. You have to import it in and open up those files, right? If you make a new virtual machine, you will click New, but in this case, we're going to use Import. So I'm going to click File, Import Appliance, or Import. So it's going to give you this interface, and this is a newer version of the app. So what we're going to do is when you're presented this, where it says File here, click the folder and browse to where you downloaded the file. Okay? A lot of the student gets stuck here with the folder, right? It says click on the machine-based folder. So basically, you just need to click this part, right? This is your folder. Okay? And then on the left, click downloads and find your orange Remnux OVA file. Okay? That you downloaded in the first few steps. And then click open. So it's going to mount the path of the file to the import function. You don't need to change any kind of settings here, right? You can if you want. If you click settings, then you can modify like RAM, right? But I'm not going to do that right now because it's just going to confuse you, okay? So what I did was I just added my file to the path, right? Like click that folder, go to downloads, select the file, click open, and then finish. That's all. Okay? It's going to take a few minutes to open up that file so you can have a VBox and a VDisk. Okay? Now, the folder that it creates, it's going to create a folder. So inside your user account, you probably have seen this before if you saw my projector, right? On the C drive, this is what's happening in the back. Under my user account, right, under your login, it's going to create a folder under VirtualBox VM. It automatically create this folder when you import. And inside it, right, it's now going to load the disk and the VBox file as it's importing it in. So it's an automated process by bringing in the OVA as an import where it's going to extract the two files and put it there for you. Just like how you download it, right? It's the same thing, but we just download one file and it's going to give us the rest of the files for our virtual machine. Okay? So two different type of files that we use. When we add, we have a VBox file, the blue file. In this case, we use an OVA file. And OVA files encompasses the VBox and the VDisk. Your virtual machine requires two files to load in VirtualBox. A VirtualBox file, a .vbox, which is the blue file, and a VDisk, which is an orange file. So there's ways. So when you do an export out, so let's say I make a virtual machine, I export it, I would make it as an OVA. An OVA encompasses my virtual machine files, a VBox and a VDisk. Okay. So when you download Kali Linux, when you download and extract, you extracted two files. So instead of making it an OVA, they just copy the folder and zip it so that when you download, you don't have to import, right? So it's just a different technique to bring into the virtual machine, to bring the virtual machine into your hypervisor, but ultimately you still use the same file. OVA contains the VBox and the VDisk, or you can download the VBox and the VDisk. Yeah, this entails if you play with the virtual machine like VBox long enough, you start it to get. So let's say that if I export my virtual machine out after I make it, I can make it an OVA, which it makes one file contains the subcomponent. Yeah, so now at this part, right, after you had import your virtual machine, don't start it yet. We're going to change the settings because remember, anytime you do forensic or security scan, you need to give it more processor. For quad core is good, and the RAM, I'm going to go 8 gig. That should be plenty. Yeah. Motherboard, the RAM is going to be 8,000 and your processor is quad core. That's good enough, right? Before you click start, after it finished the import, it's going to add it to your playlist, right? You're going to go to settings and you are going to change the RAM and the processor. Could I do this before? Yes, in the earlier process, but I didn't want to confuse you. All right, so once we have RAM and processor, that will fulfill step 12 and 13, right? We're going to click OK or start. OK and then click start. It's going to load your virtual machine. This one does not contain a desktop, okay? It's all terminal. Now, if you want a desktop, you need to install the desktop yourself, right? If you learn Linux, you can install KDE or GNU, right? GNU. Typically Debian releases allows you to have new desktop, but so they are individual software. They don't always come with your Linux releases. That's what I'm telling you, right? Kali, the reason why you have it is because they already installed it for you. Okay? Any question? Okay, so here is your Linux VM, right? This is a spin-off of Ubuntu. You are gonna open up and it's gonna run the terminal. Now, in the case that if it requires a login, you are going to go back to their website and it tells you the login. Okay? Got that? This one doesn't require a login, so you don't need to log in. Are you logging to your account on this computer? You are on this, yes? That's why. Yeah, you need to log in with yourself because this process required the system to create a folder under the user account. So it doesn't see it right here. That's a user OVA here. Oh, that's a right here. So log off and then log in as yourself. You might want to save your file because it's different user account. All right. So we're on terminal, right? It doesn't require any kind of login, which is okay. Bye. So we'll start with the typical sudo app update and sudo app upgrade. Ubuntu is a Debian release also, right? So you don't need to, and you can copy and paste, and you're like, thank God, because I don't want to type all of these things, right? So it's going to take a few minutes to push, update, upgrade. I always recommend getting their latest OVA so your upgrade is not like an hour, right? It does take about 7-10 minutes or at most. So when you are prompted to use additional disk space for the upgrade and update, you're going to say yes and press enter. So Y and then enter. So it's going to pull the packages that you need. The reason why that we want to upgrade is you want to have the kernel versions that some of the software would need because typically the software would be written for the current version of the kernel. While that's happening, right? Do you have any question or need help? What step are you doing for the Manalyze? Yeah, if you did you do the whole entire command? Both lines. Yeah, so if it's not able to bind lib or get the lib boost file system, it's okay. Um, let me see your error. I didn't get that error okay, but update, upgrade already? No, that's why. You need to do that. I just said that. You have to, because this library depends on your kernel file. You miss a step 15. Yeah. Make sure we update and upgrade so you have the current kernel version. Okay, so that's gonna take a few minutes. When you get to 16, make sure you do the entire command all the way from sudo to git. Okay? But you must update and upgrade before you can successfully run 16. It will not download the libraries that you need for the application. So 16, we download the libraries and then you need to clone the application, which is Manalyze. Then once you clone it, you are going to open up its directory and then you're going to compile it. You're going to build it. Okay? And you need the library to build it. Then you are going to run a few more commands to get the application to work. We are going to install the browser because this particular operating system doesn't have all the extra application, right? To keep it light. That's how the OVA file is smaller. You are going to install Firefox and then you're going to use Firefox command to go to VirusTotal. You will need to sign up for an account with VirusTotal. You can use your school email or you can use your personal email. That's up to you. Okay. So you need to register for an account and you need to log in to acquire your API key. All right. So if you're working ahead, you can, while you wait, you can sign up for an account, but make sure you remember how to log in. You will need to log in via the virtual machine, not just outside, but the virtual machine. And to register for an account, you need to validate your email account. Okay.
Why does this take it too long to load?
To import,
Like still have to get it. Hold on.
did you change your RAM and processor? Are you using, you log in as your own account, right? That may be something strong with this computer.
I pressed start at the same time you did.
Yeah. Did it run into any kind of error?
No.
I mean, it's still loading. You just gotta wait for it a little bit. I think hardware-wise, something is different about that computer. So in the future, maybe use the one next to it. I'll have them service it when we go to the break. Okay. So while we wait, let's talk about Manalyze a little bit. You probably read a little bit about this. So it would it's used for malware analysis. It would be used specifically for PE files, and PE files are portable executable files like your .exe, and exe typically is for Windows system to execute tasks, right? Like command prompt. So any application that you see in Windows use exe, right? So in malware analysis, sometimes you would see an application that's running that is masking the malware or used as malware. So if an application have malicious behavior, it becomes a malware, right? So it would look at the executable and look at how it's packed as an executable. We are going to use Clam AV. So Clam AV is antivirus application that you can, like, think of it like your anti-malware, right? And the way that Clam AV works is that you would include the signature of the malware, okay? Like how it would behave or what kind of nature of the malware. So you can, in this process, you would update the signature into Clam AV. And that way you can detect whether it is a malicious application or not, right? Um, so it does all of these things and it also works with VirusTotal. You can use it to submit hash to VirusTotal. It has that component. And then it also identify if if your malware is encrypted, right? Remember we talked about Packer earlier? So these tools are really focused on the things that we discussed earlier. And then the signature, whether it is authentic code or not, like if the application has been obfuscate, etc. Okay. All right. If you get this prompt, right, through your upgrade and update, just press enter and proceed. Yes. Right. We'll just add the Microsoft execution mode. That's toward the end of your update and upgrade. So check your update and upgrade. If you get a little prompt, just press yes and enter. Or press enter to select yes. Okay. As I am finishing my update and upgrade, let me close this so it's giving me more visual space. I'm going to look ahead into the next step. For 16, I mentioned that you need to use the entire command from sudo to git. Basically, that's going to download the libraries that you need to install Manalyze, right? So these are the requirements for the application. Then you're going to download Manalyze package and build it. And then you are going to access or run the application. Okay. Now, in the previous instruction, I have you run Manalyze dash dash whatever, but without the PE on the latest version of the application, it doesn't let you run without any kind of extension to or the options to the PE. So you don't have to, if you can't find B for 16, right? You don't have to answer it. Okay, so you can just say NA or unknown. But you can find the version other ways. Okay, let me see. So I'm back to my terminal after I did the update and upgrade, right? There's some information about like VM guests for the host. Next, what I'm going to do is I am going to download my libraries and my build essentials, so the requirements for the app. And then press yes to continue the installation. So once you have the library, then you are going to clone the application repository using git clone. Okay. That means that we download the directory that has the source code, all the components for the application. Now we're going to build it in C. Now, even with some application that's written in Python, you typically see that they're using C library or, and then with that, they have to use C compiler. And Linux comes with GCC, so you can run like C application and C++ application through a lot of the Debian release. But you need to bring in things like CMake and appropriate requirements for some of the application. You see that right here? Okay. Then after that, I am going to make J5. So do one line at a time. So it's gonna build the C objects, right? As you can see that it is C program. And then it's gonna load the library that you need, the plugins, all of these things that you need for Manalyze. So the feature that you saw earlier, you're gonna see that it's like Yara for rules, authentic code. So in the feature of the programmer application, you would see that it brings in like your plugin for VirusTotal. Okay, so after I use the make J5 command, I'm going to now access the directory bin, which stores the application, right, as binary file. So here, as you run the program, you can see when you execute Manalyze like this, right? You basically launch the program and it gives you the options. Okay. You need to make sure that you have a PE file, like a .exe file, or multiple files that is in that folder or a path to those files. There are other options that you can use with the command, right? Like you can use help, you can use plugins with P, and then these are the available plugins. So you can use an antivirus with it. You can use a Packer plugin with it. There's a lot of different things. If you want to find encryption, you can use FineCrypt with it, which is a plugin, right? So the way that we would run the program is we would say Manalyze, right? Program, whatever your exe is, we're going to run that with the exe, but you need to have the exe as the target for it to analyze. Or you can have it with the plugins like this. Okay, so we're going to practice some of this. So when you run it, you might not be able to find a version, right? Let me see if it... Yeah, it's going to give you an error because you need to include the PE for this version. So you can just not skip 16B. Just take a screenshot for step 16. Now, next we are going to install Firefox because it doesn't come with our VM, right? That's easy. Sudo apt install Firefox. And then yes to continue. We don't always assume that browser comes with these things, right? Sometimes it comes with the desktop package, but not always. So we can always go and install each application that we need. So once you have Firefox installed on your VM, you are going to access VirusTotal website. Okay? Then it's gonna load the page through your Firefox. Now, if you have not created an account, right? On the left, you would click on the left, don't use this right here. That's for Mozilla. I made a mistake. I needed to sync and no. You just need to click the 3 line right here on the left. And then if you want to log in, if you create an account, you can click sign in, right? And if you are not a member, then you can go sign up, right? So again, once you're on Virus Total, click the 3 line on the left, which is the menu. Click sign in, right? And then use your account that you created. But if you have not created an account, you're going to click sign up and then fill out the form and submit. You need to access the email that you use in the sign up to validate your account. That works. Did you update and upgrade?
Yeah, I understand.
It should not be that fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a progress bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't bring you all the stuff. But you didn't get that one.
The super. Sure.
Good idea.
Or might be a basement. It's
Let me see, today's what, that's
it's
13.
297. Yeah.
These girls get this. Yeah. Okay, so we're just rebooting to see if there's these services or. Yeah, but I think could be that there's some things that was not loaded in the boot process, right? Like there might be error here, so it's still gonna go for some part if the majority of the service that needs more. So just try that and then just do some again. I think that your kernel, yeah, your kernel was not updated or upgraded, so that's why you're likely. That's the very important one. Professor, I don't use. What are you talking about? Oh, for that. Did you install Firefox? Yes. Separately. You need to go to the website inside your VM and then log in to Virus. Okay, so I'm gonna log in. Okay, are you with me here? Right? You got an account with Virus Total, you install Firefox in your virtual machine, then you're gonna use Firefox in your virtual machine to access Virus Total. we're gonna get our API and use it in our configuration. Okay? The reason why is that we are using the plugin. So think of plugins as extra feature to your application Manalyze, right? We're going to use Clam AV plugin. So these are components that you're going to add on top of your application to examine a malware, okay? And that's typical when you are looking at specific file or executable PE files that is contaminated or malicious. All right, so once I'm logged into VirusTotal, right, on the left side, I'm going to click the menu again, and I should see my profile, okay? Scroll down and you should find your API key located on that menu. Click it. And it is blur out, which is good because my video goes on YouTube. And so you are going to click the copy key, the button where it says copy. So again, in your virtual machine, install Firefox, use Firefox command, right? This one right here. So it's two separate commands to access VirusTotal. Then log in to VirusTotal to acquire your API key. Once you're logged in, you're going to click on the menu, go down to API key, and you will find it blurred out. You're going to click the copy key. I screenshot it for you already. And you're going to use that in the next few steps. Okay? Any question? Yeah, it's still. Yeah, it's gonna be slow to restart, and I think it's just doing that too. Let me know. Yeah, you won't see it. On the new Manalyze, it won't let you run additional option without having the exe tag. So just skip B16B, you can just say NA or unknown. Yeah, even when you're using the -v, you have to use it with like a file there. It won't let you, because the way they write the function, it's looking for that parameter to execute that version find, like find the version number. But you can find other ways. So yeah, no, you don't have to just screenshot for 16. All right, so we're gonna do copy of the API, and then I'm going to minimize, right? Or come back to my terminal. So once you copy, you can close out VirusTotal and Mozilla to come back to your terminal. Then what I'm going to do next, after I copy my API key, you can paste that into your lab document so you have it. I'm not going to do that because my video would show that. So, and I don't want to spend the time to blur it out on YouTube. It takes a long time. I'm going to do nano Manalyze config. .config. So we're going to configure this application by adding in our API key so it automates that for us. So that means that I'm linking VirusTotal to the application using API. You understand? That means a program talking to a program using the key. Okay? At this point, I'm not going to screen share because it's going to be in plain text. All right, so in the configuration file, you're going to copy your keys into where it says XXXX. So use your arrow key to move down. I guess I can screen share still until that part. Right? So in the configuration file, which I use manalyze.conf, right? I got here. So use your arrow key and go down to the second line and then go all the way to the right. Delete the X's, all the X, and then paste your API in here. Okay? And so now I'm going to unshare. Control X, enter, or yes, and enter. Okay, so follow the instructions on that. Yep. So did you do step 22? No. And then where are you at? Tell me what step.
I want to go on 22, but I don't want to begin here after I put the link for
What link are you talking about?
Firefox.
You were running this step? Did you install Firefox?
Yeah. First one.
And then you're trying to run this command. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Did you log in? Did you get, that's how you got your API key, right?
Yeah, I got my.
Oh yeah, so when you exit out of that to pop up here, press Control C so you can come back to the pop up. Spot, let me see. It's not sure. Wait, go slow down. Go back to your Firefox. Okay, so first, yeah. So did it load the page? What did you see here? Did it go to virus totals? The whole point is to use this to go to virus total. Did it not load the page? Run it again. We have to remember. No. So just go here. Last command should be the upper arrow key. Press enter.
Oh yeah, I did. Then
yeah, your API key right here. This is the tab. Click here. Copy your key already? Mm-hmm. Okay, paste it in the document so you have it. Okay. Now, yeah, proceed. So when you exit out of Manalyze or exit out of the application, it always say that. It's always say channel exit.
This makes it
yeah. No. It's just giving you the logs that it's doing that. Okay, so once you have your API key added to the configuration file, so delete the X in the field of the API and paste your API key in there, right? Where it says that on step 23, and then you're going to press Control X, press Y, and enter to save it. So you updated the configuration file with your API key that you have copied. Control C is to cancel the process. But what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to put
Okay, yeah. So when it says channel error like that, that means you were, hold on a second. You're still in the process. Yeah. So Control C to see you pop up and get out of that process. Okay. Then do the next command. Yeah, I use my personal email. But if you can use your school email, whichever email you have access to right now to validate your account. It will send you a link. Yeah. Okay. So I added my API key. Then what I'm gonna do next is I am going to use the Clam AV plugin. So this is like your antivirus, but you need to update it with new rules, right? Like what is a virus? Which one is a malware? So because a lot of these Manalyze is written, right? Like I said before, right? It used to C library, but a lot of these applications are written in Python. So, and with the Yara plugin, you can use Python to add, right? To run the Python file that contains your signatures. Okay. So we're gonna copy the step for the command with the Python 3. We're gonna run Python to add the rules, right? The rules as a Python file into your application. I want to make sure I didn't skip any kind of directory here. Paste. So it's going to take a few minutes to get going, right? It's going to download the signatures for your malware, and we are going to be able to use this signature to determine if our PE, if our executable files are malicious or not. Then as you finish, you're going to take a screenshot for step 25 after you updated the signatures for Clam AV. So you're going to see that it's going to give you some updates about, maybe it skipped some rule, maybe it added some rules. So it's when you run antivirus updates, basically in the back, the application just download the rules, right? Or not, right? There's some stuff that it's going to skip, some stuff that it's going to see. It says skipping. Some of them, okay. Then what we're going to do is we are going to go back one folder by using cd ... because where I am is I'm in the bin folder or directory. I'm going to move back to Manalyze directory. Did it have progress for your upgrade? No? It's slow? I told him to use another one. Yeah, like change computer because if you see, it's the same. It was crawling. So I don't know what's going on. Like, maybe it's trying to unpack and something's weird with when it unpacked that. Or, as it loads your OVA. But it should be a fairly fast process. Okay. So once I'm in the Manalyze directory, I am going to use the help option, right? And it tells me the same thing as what I've seen before. Take a screenshot. Oh, not yet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Firefox again, right? And download this, okay? I'm sorry, I forgot to modify this on Monday. So on step 28, in your terminal, if your Firefox tab is not open, you're going to do Firefox and then the URL, okay? If it is still open, you just put in the URL. Not going to attempt it. Come back.
Yeah, I want to ask, will you be here tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm in the afternoon tomorrow.
The afternoon. All right.
Or Monday.
On Monday?
Yeah, Monday same time. You want to come Monday?
We're gonna be here Thursday.
Thursday I teach in the afternoon, 1 till 5. Someone is in here at 9.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a good idea to come here tomorrow.
You can come here. I stay in here until 5 o'clock. Someone is in here. I can ask him if you can stay and work on your lap. He probably won't have a problem with it. He teaches a class in here, another class. CS-47. Yeah, so
Okay,
if you come in the evening, I'll ask Caesar if you can stay and work on your lab.
yeah,
He
it looks like you're almost done with the lab, and I'm just really behind.
okay. Yeah, you can. If you want to come and catch up, you can.
Yeah, I'd rather
Okay.
do that.
All right.
Thanks.
Uh-huh. Okay. So for step 28, right? When you in the command prompt, and if you already closed your Firefox, you just use Firefox and then copy and paste this link into the command line. If not, you can just add it to your URL. Yeah, you're on the right track. So here, this malware cookbook is released by someone who does malware analysis. We are going to download one of the exe file and we're going to analyze to see if it's malicious. This is a PE file. Basically, it is an executable that could be malicious. We're not sure, right? If you go back to his directory, he has really good resources and tools and even information on how to do malware analysis in different ways. So when you're here on this page, right, you are going to go to the right-hand side. You're going to click download raw file. This download symbol, the arrow, you're going to click it. And it's going to download it in your virtual machine. Okay? Now, so in my instruction, you see the steps for CMD and the step for install CMD, right? If you want the other executable, you're going to go back, right? One tab, right? You can find other executable that he released. So basically, these are malicious PE. They look like regular execution type of process on Windows, but it could be malicious, right? So we're going to analyze it with the tools that we just installed and modified. But there are a lot of really good resources through this GitHub repository. Anyway, so I use Firefox and then I put in the URL. And then when I got to the page, again, click the download raw file. Just put your cursor to the download button and click it. It's going to download it to your home directory or your home directory. Yeah. So what you're going to do is you are going to access your downloads directory. I'm sorry, it downloads to your downloads directory. I'm sorry. Yeah, you have to CD into it. Yeah, I am on share screen. I'm like, did I forget to share screen? Okay, so once I download, right, I can close the page and I come back to my terminal here. In this terminal, I'm now going to go into my downloads folder by using step 31 command CD. And notice that you went from Manalyze to now the downloads folder. That's where your executable that you just downloaded, the exe, lives, right? Where it's stored. Yeah. When you close this terminal, you just click the plus sign. Yeah, and then continue. It'll just open up another terminal window. But you need to make sure that you're in the right directory for that step. You know, if it's supposed to be Manalyzed, then CD into that. So check you can always do LS, right? Like if you're in the previous one, LS, see where you are. If it doesn't show the folder like this, if it's home, if it's just this, then CD into Manalyze. So need to be able to navigate it that way. Okay, I'm at the 15-minute mark. Means I gotta hurry up. All right. So I'm in the downloads folder and now I'm going to analyze the executable that I just downloaded, right? So if you have an executable, let's say a user downloaded it and it's malicious, you take that file and you use Manalyze to examine it, okay? Because a lot of the malware, what you see is that it would come through for Windows systems in an exe. So there you go. It's going to tell you The architecture, the file system, this is for Windows subsystem. Compilation date, right, was in 2010, in English, and it's stored in your Windows folder like this. That means that when user runs it, it's gonna put it in, like an administrator runs it, it's gonna put it in that file. Same thing, huh? Yeah, you're probably not gonna be able to get very far like this. So maybe come back and do it, or you can do it on your laptop.
That's what I was gonna ask you, is it safe to run this lab on our own laptop at home?
In the virtual machine and then delete the VM. Yeah, just delete you know where the VM lives, right? You can just right click remove everything. Not only, but click the other remove and it remove the VM and then, you know. Yeah, the OVA doesn't have, it's not the VM. The VM is after you import it. It makes a folder in the VirtualBox app called Remnux. Yeah, it's under your user account. Okay, so when you run this, you would be able to answer the questions, right? Subsystem architecture, product name. You can do the same thing for other EXE, which I wrote. Then what we're going to do is we are going to run another command to look at like output information. So, and in this one, what you see is when you run, right, for the same EXE, you don't just see you see that it tells you it is a PE executable, portable executable file, right? In English, and then the timestamp, right, when it was created. So this gives you more information about the actual executable itself compared to the last. It will basically be like what kind of system that it would be used on and where it would go after you run, you know, the artifacts for the debug is there for the application, the debug area. And then so take a screenshot compared to the last output. What additional information did you find? And then what we're going to do is we are going to get the hashes of your PE. And so earlier we talked about the important part about getting the hashes. So it gives you various hash algorithm, right? Like MD5, SHA-256, SSD. So you would be able to obtain the hash, but right above it, it tells you the dynamic libraries that is used, right? With the actual the PE. Okay, so it gives you, so this is very lengthy. You need to see that because malware, the executable is one file, but what you see is that it runs multiple files within it, right? And with that, you getting the hashes for it. So this particular application brings it out and then give you that information. So you get hash values, right? Of the actual file for the executable that's used by the executable, including dynamic library of your system. And what function it's running with your dynamic library there. Okay, so once you have that information, you can just go to the hash section for each of the files. Then we are going to now use Clam AV plugin. So we're going to do 2 steps. We're going to go cd ... Oop, space ... And then we are going to run Clam AV plugins with the dump all option. So that's why we did the update with the rules, the Yara rules earlier to check to see. And so take a screenshot, read the output. Did it gives you information about whether it's a malware or not? Right? So there you go. Also address location, the objects that were used. So now you can see that we can use Manalyze in VEM Nux or REMNux in order to take apart PE file or perform investigation on a PE file. Shut down your system like you typically would in Linux. So shut down now and then answer these questions. What did you learn in completing this lab? You learned how to import your virtual machine. You learned how to install Manalyze and use its plugins like ClamAV along with VirusTotal. You learn how to use API with VirusTotal and Manalyze. And you also, how can you use Manalyze and Yara in your career? You already know, right? These things are used for malware analysis. So there you go.